I tell you how I got started was there are a lot of what they call bird dog scouts around. They actually work for the main scout. And the first time a scout saw me was against Spencerville in the tournament, our senior year. And Ed Sandy, who coached Gomer, was one of these bird dog scouts who actually played three or 4 years of professional ball himself. And even though we didn't win the game, because Spencerville had a real fine team that year, we went all the way to the state tournament. He evidently was impressed with what I had done, because Spencerville had a really fine ball team. And I think I struck out maybe 12 or 13 of their hitters.
Oh my God.
But he was impressed enough to meet me after the game, and then he wanted to meet my parents, and then he stayed in touch, and then he kept calling me, and I kept coming through Delphus and stopped to see me play. He saw me play my senior year maybe 3 or 4 times, and he always wrote me letters. He writes everybody he signs letters and tells them what to do. And I have probably the first letter he wrote me in this scrapbook here. Told me things to work on, and this is while I'm still in high school. And then anyway, he saw me pitch I think 3 times, and those 3 times, lucky enough, I pitched 2 no-hitters.
Oh my gosh.
And anyway, he came back and told me and the coach and my parents, he said, the day after you graduate from high school, I want to see you at 9 o'clock in the morning. And so he stopped down the house at 9 o'clock in the morning and offered me a contract with the Phillies, professional baseball. But it all came about kind of by a fluke, because I was not planning to play high school baseball my senior year, because my parents were not in very good health, and I was going to get a job and try to help them out. But my dad knows how much I like baseball and that, but I didn't have a glove. So Cal Fox, my coach in high school, he had an extra glove, so they talked me into playing, and that's how I really came into baseball. That was my luck to stay with it, you know. So Tony Lucadella, when he signed me, knew I needed a glove, and his gift to me was a ball glove. Of course, I got some money too, but he gave me his own personal a ball glove, a pitcher's glove.
What year?
I went the first year down to Spartansburg, South Carolina, and we played in the Western Carolina League. They had a draft that year in professional ball, which is different than it is today. So in 1964, they had a draft of professional athletes. So the big league teams that finished the worst got the first opportunity. And they had to better the contract that was given to you by, in my case, the Phillies organization. So that fall of '64, the Phillies offered me a AAA contract in Little Rock, Arkansas, which was in the Pacific Coast League, the following year. So when the draft came about, the Cubs had the worst record of all the major league teams, and I was the first player they took. And that's next spring, or February of 1965, about 8 months after I was out of high school. I had a major league contract, and I was in spring training with the major league team, and it was quite quite a thrill to first time I went in the clubhouse with Major League ball players, but all the ball players weren't there. It was just the pitchers and the catchers for the first week to get in shape and kind of get your arm in shape and things like that. But throughout that first week, other players would begin filtering in and into the clubhouse. And every clubhouse, everyone had their own personal cubicle with their name on top of it. Every day you had to have new uniforms on. I think we had like 4 home uniforms and 4 away uniforms. And you had to have clean socks. They wasn't allowed to have hose in them. And then the white hose, sanitary socks that you put underneath. If you got one with a hole in it, you better put another one on top of it or something, you know, to cover the hole. Yeah. And then one time there was another guy. I was the first player that they took, and about the 3rd player they took was a young outfielder by the name of Gary Cortopassi, and he came from the Angels organization. And Bob Kennedy had the 2 of us stand up before everybody in the clubhouse, and he said, "These guys have been here. They're new. They're 17 years old, and I want you guys to know that the last time the Cubs ended up in 1st division, not first place, but 1st division, was 1945. And at that point in time, we've been a 2nd division team before these guys were even born." So he made a big point about that, you know. After a while, all good things come to an end, and I was called into his office, and he sat down and talked with me and said they were going to option me out to a AAA team. So I went to the Cubs AAA team at that time, and I think it was Salt Lake City, and I pitched against the Giants AAA farm club, and I went 6 or 7 innings, and I gave up one run, and then they sent me down to Wenatchee, Washington, the high Class A club of the Northwest League. And teams in that league was in Washington and Oregon and Idaho. So we played out there the whole summer. At the end of '66, I was drafted into the military. I spent over 2 years in the military. I'd become wild and erratic, and I think that was because of being away from ball for over 2.5 years. But when I was in Vietnam, I got a letter saying I was involved in a trade, and I went to the Pittsburgh Pirate organization. So I thought, well, hey, you know, I come out with high hopes, but I didn't have it anymore. I didn't have the good fastball, couldn't have the control.
And when you were a young kid in Delphus, what got you interested in ball? Did you just...
I wasn't interested in ball, but until one day my dad took me out in the yard and we started throwing. Didn't interest me a bit. And a while later he started pitching the ball, and I got to hitting, and that started becoming fun. Where the Waterworks Park is today, right along 66 there's a ball diamond.
Yeah.
See the fence?
Yeah.
But we played there every night, and the parks, bikes were just lined up playing, you know. We might have 7 or 8 boys on each team. And I coached about 25 years maybe, and I coached first couple years with Kenny,
Not Kenny Roadhouse.
No. But anyhow, we coached the Little Leagues, and then they had an opening to the Pony League, so I went there and I coached for quite a few years there with the Pony Leagues. And then I went and did the Van Wert Legion for 3 years, but I didn't like that anymore because it was the travel. Every game was a away game. I mean, it might have been played at Van Wert, but still, for me to come from here and go there, it was like a away game. Pony League I liked because it seems like the kids were eager to learn. They wanted to learn. When you got with the high school kids, they pretty much knew it all. I mean,
Yeah.